Do you have a timid faith? A tiny Jesus living in your heart that doesn't want to confront culture? If so, that's not biblical. What the Bible teaches us about God is that we have a great and majestic, glorious God who is eternal. He is without beginning and without end, and His kingdom will reign forever. God should affect every part of our lives. He should affect every part of our learning. And so at Cedarville, we believe that Jesus affects every discipline. From the way we teach art, to the way we teach history, to the way we do business, every area has an integrated biblical worldview. In this chapel clip from Bruce Ashford, you're going to see just a glimpse of what we think you should believe about Jesus and about a biblical worldview confronting culture. Would you watch this, and then would you pray about joining us here at Cedarville as we stand for the Word of God and for the testimony of Jesus Christ?
Okay, so the first thing I have to do is I have to tell you that culture is a good thing. At the time of creation, God created the heavens and the earth, and He called it good and very good. And what this does is it affirms the physical and material aspect of our existence. That means it is not bad in and of itself to love the arts and to love the sciences and politics and economics and sports and competition and homemaking, the things that we call culture, the things that you study, the things that you'll do for a career. It is not bad to really love those things, and those things are not inferior to being a pastor. Those are callings from God, and they are good. So God created the world and He called it good. He created His imagers and made them to be social and cultural beings. Two of the things He told them to do were to be fruitful and multiply, that's a social command, and to till the soil, that's a cultural command. Till the soil, get in there and take the world that I just made and called good and change it, make something out of it, bring out its hidden potential. That's what your professors do. That's what people do in their jobs. They make something out of the world that God gave us. So these are activities we're supposed to do. The Bible also teaches that when God created us, He created us with a heart, and not just physiologically, but spiritually, that our heart in the Bible is the innermost recess of who we are, and it's either pointed toward Christ or away from Him, toward God or away from Him, toward false gods, one or the other. And that those innermost recesses of who we are, the heart, radiates outward into absolutely everything we do, including our studies and including our careers. And so I often get, questions, good questions, and sometimes objections. Well, we understand how that could be the case in religious studies or theology, but how could it be the case in art? Let me give an example. So in the field of art, there are a number of artists, contemporary artists, and from the past 50 years have been affected by Friedrich Nietzsche, a nihilist. And at the core of nihilism is the belief that life does not have any meaning, that life is not intended by God. And so one of the things you can do is enter into the field of art, and one of the things you might find yourself doing is interacting with some nihilistic artists and allowing your body of work over the course of a lifetime to reshape the field away from nihilism toward a view in which life has meaning. Business and entrepreneurship, what about in those disciplines? To give a really simple, example, for some folks in business and entrepreneurship, the only factor really to consider is the bottom line. But the scriptures teach us that there's much more to consider. We don't want to dehumanize workers. We want our business to contribute to the flourishing of the society around us. We want it to be shaped by Christian virtue as taught in the scriptures. And so every field you study in, you can enter into and shape it toward Christ. And I want to challenge you to do that. When I finally discovered this truth, in the past 5 or 6 years, long after I had my PhD, when I finally happened onto a way of doing this, it's like I was alive again, because this question had nagged at me my whole life. Because the Jesus I had been introduced to when I was a kid was a teeny tiny Jesus who hid inside of my heart in private. And it made no sense to me that if He was the creator of the universe, that He would be that timid and that irrelevant to the rest of life. But I have begun to see that He's not a timid Christ, and He doesn't hide inside of our private hearts. He radiates outward into everything we do, and that means that everything in life matters to God, including especially your studies.